Hello again, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. I am Papa Hefe and welcome to my channel. I am here at Mobile Bay Harley Davidson. I was up here with my wife and we were looking to buy her a used Sportster. And instead we wound up buying a brand new 2020 Iron 883. And I think she's going to be super thrilled with that bike. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I want to talk about today is a discussion that I've seen raised on YouTube more times than I can count over the last few years. And that is motovlogging dead? Now the obvious answer, since I'm motovlogging, is no, it's not dead. It's a thing that's still going on. People still do it. But that's a simplistic answer at best. And it doesn't really dig to the heart of what people are asking. What they're really asking is, can motovlogging still be relevant in 2019, 2020? And that is a more nuanced question. I think this is a question that's best explored in analogy, because whenever I hear the phrase motovlogging is dead, the first thing that comes to mind is another phrase that I've heard all my life. Rock and roll is dead. And that's a phrase that's been thrown around pretty casually for over half a century now. Every time something new comes in to change up the status quo of rock and roll, you'll have music journalists, old musicians, fans of dead genres who say, oh, rock and roll is dead. But it's not. We're on the cusp of 2020 and rock and roll is still alive and well. That being said, rock and roll doesn't top the charts anymore. And rock as it was once upon a time is very much dead and gone. But in the immortal words of the great Neil Young, it just evolves, it changes. And if you refuse to change with the times, then you're not going to recognize it. So yeah, if your frame of reference for rock and roll comes from when Buddy Holly and the Crickets were the height of guitar-driven anthems of rebellion, then you're probably going to look around and think, yeah, rock and roll is dead. I don't know what this is, but it ain't rock and roll. And I certainly feel that similar principles could be applied to motovlogging. There was a time when you could just slap a camera on your helmet and go riding around town and publish unedited videos of yourself doing that, and you can become kind of YouTube famous. And yes, that time has passed, but motovlogging is totally still a thing. There are plenty of people doing it. There are new people doing it every single day. But just like with the evolution of rock and roll, if you want to maintain relevancy as a motovlogger, you've got to evolve. I mean, sure, you can pick up a guitar and bang out some 3-chord melodies, slap that over a rhythm and call it rock and roll. And technically you'd be correct. Just like you can stick an action camera on your helmet and record yourself riding around town and call it a motovlog. Yeah, technically you're correct, but that doesn't mean you're going to be relevant, and it doesn't mean you're going to have an audience. YouTube is just a different beast now from what it was 5 or 10 years ago. And while we still technically live in an age where entertainment's been democratized, there's more competition than ever. And part of that is because with the democratization of entertainment, it's become easier than ever to just stick some content out there. And there's totally a place for people who just want to document their rides. I have nothing against that. As a matter of fact, I have nothing but respect for that. But the fact remains that if you want to have an audience, you've got to set yourself apart somehow. And just like with rock and roll, you have to find that balance of setting yourself apart, doing something different, but also doing the things that catch people's attention in the modern time and keep yourself relevant. And that does mean that you'll wind up doing some of the things that the more popular artists, motovloggers, musicians, whatever, do. You know, Pablo Picasso famously said, good artists borrow, great artists steal. And that's a truism that can be applied to any creative endeavor, including motovlogs. You can become passably good just by borrowing. You can borrow somebody else's technique. You can borrow their editing style, borrow their content type, but you're just borrowing it. It's still theirs. Or you can steal. What are you doing when you steal something? You're not saying, hey, this still belongs to you, but I'm going to hold on to it for a while. You take it and you make it your own. This is mine now. And actually doing that, taking the thing and making it your own, is kind of the ultimate end goal for any creative type. No one wants to be seen as an imitation of a better product, but it's important to find the elements of the creators that you enjoy and see why those elements spoke to you in the first place, and see how you can adapt them to better fit your own style. So if you picked apart my videos, you can totally tell where my influences lie. You know, there's a little bit of Blockhead, a little bit of Shade Tree Surgeon, some Bike and Bird, a bit of Do It With Dan. You mix them all together, shake it up, and then start picking out the things that work for you and these things that don't work for you. You know, this vlogger seems really genuine, whereas this one seems more like a character, and the genuine thing really appeals to me. I'm gonna do that. Or this one's really approachable and interacts directly with the community around their channel, whereas this one's a little more hands-off and distances themselves a little bit to put a divide between their personal and public lives. There's nothing inherently right or wrong with either approach to any of those. It was all about them finding what worked for them. Go ahead. Pulled over at this abandoned shop, whatever the hell it used to be 20 years ago when somebody was using it. And there were some kids parked right over here in a Monte Carlo, and at the time I rolled up, they freaked out and rode off in a hurry. I thought that was a little weird. And then I opened up my helmet and I realized why they left in such a hurry. Man, it smells like a party out here. Kids, if you're gonna smoke weed in Alabama, don't do it on the side of the main road through town. That's just a good way to get yourself arrested. Did nobody ever tell you about bored small town cops? Well, I stopped to fasten my chin strap because I had forgotten to strap my helmet on when I left the parking lot. And I pulled over at this old gas station and I noticed something. Yeah, it's a religious book. I don't really care. And somebody's been living here. It sure does smell like a homeless camp on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. Nothing like that unique combination of organic decay, piss, and sweat. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, taking what you like and making it yours. The making it yours part really is key. You can have the slickest camera, the hottest gear, the coolest bike, you can have the prettiest B-roll footage, you can have the sharpest editing skills. If you're just copying somebody else, none of it really matters. Because if that's you, at the end of the day, you're just a cheap imitation of somebody else. And at the end of the day, I would way rather watch somebody who's being themselves but is a little awkward on camera and can barely slap together something comprehensible with Windows Movie Maker than somebody who's just trying to directly copy their favorite big vlogger. And I totally understand the reasoning, you know, this is how they did things and this is what got them famous. But part of why that worked for them is because that's them. You're not them, you're you. Just be you. You might be saying, Papa Hefe, I won't be successful being me because I'm kind of an obnoxious asshole. Dude, most motovloggers are obnoxious assholes. I'm an obnoxious asshole. If you don't think there's a place for obnoxious assholes on YouTube, boy howdy have I got a surprise in store for you. So yeah, I don't think motovlogging is dead. I don't even think motovlogging is dying. But I do think that the medium is growing and that it's changing. And I think that's a fantastic thing. And I'm really excited for the future of motovlogging. And I'm even more excited that I get the opportunity to be part of that future. And if you want to be part of that future, but you keep hearing people tell you motovlogging is dead, you shouldn't bother getting into it, f*** that. Do what you want, follow your passions. It's not hard. The biggest stumbling block in your path is you. What's up, bro? It's a beautiful day. You've been fantastic. I'm Papa Jefe. Peace.